Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2021 Chevy Equinox, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Stop Light Switch kit. Generally speaking, a stop light switch is going to be required to allow your braking system to work properly. Many different braking systems, specifically permanent type braking systems, do require a brake signal input. So it requires to have a signal sent to it whenever the brake pedal inside of your Equinox is depressed. That way the indicator light can function properly, as well as some other components that may require that signal from your brake pedal. The issue is, with the Equinox, whenever it's in the tow mode, so whenever you're pulling it behind your motorhome, we're not going to be able to use the factory wire to gain that signal. And that's where the brake light switch or stop light switch is going to come into play. It's an external switch that we mount up, and whenever the brake pedal is being pushed or in its resting state, it's going to open and close that switch and send that information to the braking system so it can do its job properly. As far as the installation goes, the good news is there's not really a whole lot to it. On the same note though, you're going to be working underneath the dash. It's pretty tight and a little tricky to actually see everything and get to everything, but there's only a couple things to do, so as long as you're patient for a few minutes, shouldn't really have any issues getting it installed. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do that together now. To begin our installation, you're going to be inside of your vehicle and you're going to be working on the driver's side underneath the dash right here in this area. So if we look on top of our brake pedal arm, you can see the stoplight switch mounted to the bracket. Now everything's really tricky to see and show exactly, so kind of bear with us here. We're going to do the best that we can. This bracket, that's going to get secured to a bolt that runs up, so you're going to pull the nut off using a 13mm socket, slide the bracket over it, and bolt it down. The stoplight switch itself is just going to run through the other hole in the bracket, so that's pretty straightforward. And then we're going to have two wires that come off of it. All right, and when you hook these up, you know, it's going to go to two different places. It does not matter what side of the switch you hook up the wires. One of the wires is going to go to your indicator light or your wireless coach link. In our case, we have the wireless coach link, and that's this wire here. If you have a different type of braking system, you'd simply refer to your instructions, and whichever wire that you would hook up to the brake light switch is the one you would put there. The other wire is just going to be a power source, and that's what this wire is. So I just took the red wire that comes with the switch and routed this into the engine compartment. That way we can hook it up to our battery. So that wire is just going to kind of simply run over and then shoot straight towards a firewall and go through a grommet into the engine compartment. Now in the engine compartment, this is where that red wire came up. I used a heat shrink butt connector to pair that up with the included fuse holder. When you set this up, make sure the fuse is not installed just yet. But what you're going to do is attach a ring terminal, back this nut off, put the ring terminal around the stud, tighten it back down, and that's how it'll be set up. Once you have it hooked up to the battery and you're all good there, you can take your fuse and place that into the holder. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster Stop Light Switch kit on our 2021 Chevrolet Equinox.